Good morning, skiers and boarders. It's your Beaver Mountain Snow Report for Saturday, March 11th. We have a total of 108 inches with 3 inches new. Surface conditions are machine-packed and new snow. Today we'll be running all 4 chairs, Little Beaver, The Face, and the Dream from 9 to 4, and Marge's Triple from 9 to 3:30. Roads to the mountain are plowed and sanded, but snow packed in the upper portion of the canyon. Just a light wind this morning, and at 6 a.m. the skies were mostly clear. We had a high yesterday of 38. A low last night of 20, and at 6 o'clock this morning it was also 20. Looking for sunny skies today and a high of around 28. So come on up to Beaver Mountain.
The following is a paid program of commercial time on KVNU. The information, offers, and claims are solely those of the sponsor and not the opinions of this station, its affiliates, management, or employees. It's time for the Garden Guide with your host, Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden.
New research suggests that people are more likely to eat vegetables if they have a tempting name.
What would life be without homegrown tomatoes? Only 2 things that money can't buy, and that's true love and homegrown tomatoes.
From gardening to landscaping.
Today we are going to try and create garden eyebrows. Kind of like the flowers are sprouting directly from your hair. That makes sense.
Go! Phone lines are open at 753-KVNU or 800-369-KVNU.
Kind of like eating vegetables.
It's the Garden Guide, now on KVNU 610 AM and 102 FM.
Join a little sunshine on the Wellsvilles as it's not quite spring yet, but at least we're getting a little taste of it, Mark.
Official spring is only a week away.
We're going to be a little behind.
Official spring, yeah. A little bit behind, but you know what? We went up to Beaver Mountain yesterday, did a little snowboarding.
Oh, nice.
Had a nice time, but we left a little bit late. It was like around 11 o'clock or so, and I was looking at how much snow was on my driveway. They kind of got compacted down from the last storm and kind of broke up some sections, and I was like, hopefully, we'll get a bunch of that melted off today. And then we came back, and I couldn't believe the difference.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like just in that 4 or 5 hours that we were gone, I came back, and it's like, holy smoke, almost all of that ice is almost gone off my driveway. There was just like one chunk that was bigger. And the snow piles looked like they had decreased about a third.
Yeah,
so,
we lost about a foot of those. And well, that's what 51 degrees will do.
Yes.
And so
we need a couple more of those.
Yeah,
a couple more days like that.
Warming up.
Yeah.
So we can just slowly melt off that water. And
we need a gradual warm up, but we don't want it to be like too cold for too long because then we won't have any runoff until like end of May, 1st of June, which is when our critical time is. So that's when it's going to be interesting, to say the least. So
just a slow, gradual warm up, and we'll continue to kind of watch the area real closely. I was out running along the Logan River Trail yesterday, and it was one puddle to another, and so at one point I was like, you know what, it's not going to matter if I try to keep my feet dry. I'm just going to stomp in these puddles because they were everywhere.
Just going to go for it. Yeah,
a lot of standing water around.
But we do have some warm temperatures in the forecast. So 40s will be nice. Yeah. We'll take those 40s.
40s just gradually. We want to avoid the 60s or 70s. Definitely, we don't want to all of a sudden just see temperatures spike and. Yeah. We can talk about that this morning. I noticed Logan City announced that sandbags are available if people need them.
Yeah.
And and a number of other communities are doing
the same thing. Yeah, they're doing the same thing. So that's great. We're just trying to be prepared, and hopefully we won't have to use them, but we've got them just in case.
Just in case,
just in case. And I know there's been a lot of work done on some of those critical areas from years past. There's a bunch of communities that have noticed that, over the last 30 years, we've had certain areas that have consistently flooded when we've had, big snowpacks like we've got right now. And there's some work that's been done to try and kind of mitigate that. Yeah. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that it's going to work the way we anticipate.
Well, we all remember what the Logan River did to the Logan River Golf Course a few years ago, and wow, the way they've cleaned that up and helped that river just to run. It was just constantly always just going from one dam to another dam to another dam, and now to have that all cleared up, the water's just moving through there so much faster.
Oh, so much nicer.
Yeah.
And it's nice to have the water.
Yeah.
So we'll take it.
We want it.
Yeah, we'll take
every little bit.
We will take it. So a lot happening at Anderson's, even though there's still snow on the ground. So we got our first shipment of bare root fruit trees in yesterday. So we're still organizing and tagging and getting those ready to go. So by the first part of next week, those will be ready. So if there's some bare root trees that you are looking for, now's the time to come in and check it out and see what we've got. But we'll probably have some ready today, but not all. It takes a minute to tag 700 trees.
Put them all. Absolutely.
So just be patient with us. They just came in late yesterday afternoon. So, tagging and organizing 700 trees takes a few minutes. So, but this is our first shipment. So we've got some more coming in the next 10 days, 2 weeks. And so we'll eventually end up with about 1,800 trees to sell. So,
and if you're really wanting peach trees, because they always seem to go
so fast,
go first.
So fast. So
this is the time to come in.
A lot of nice peaches and nectarines and other stone fruits in this batch. I've got more coming in the next batch of trees that will be coming as well too. And we do have a seminar today at 1:00 that's all about planting bare root. And so we can have you. If you are interested, please come and participate in our bare root seminar. That is at 1:00 today. We'll be talking about the best way to pick out trees, how to dig your hole, how to plant the trees, how to fertilize, how to water, how to prune, all that stuff, and hopefully make you more successful when you're planting not just trees, but we've got bare root raspberries coming in a couple of weeks. We've got strawberries that'll probably be here next week, and grapes will be here next week. Asparagus, potatoes. Onion plants are already here, so season is starting, whether the outside is ready or not.
Yeah. And that brings up a good point. If you are looking for like a peach tree and you're wanting to grab that now, what would be the best way to be able to hold on to that and just maybe keep it in the garage for a couple of weeks before you plant
Absolutely. So what we do with them when they come in is we have some great big barrels that we put the trees into after we've separated them and tagged them and got them ready to go, and then we just pile soil in around the root system, and then water it. Yeah, just to keep the root system moist. And temperatures are perfect right now for the trees. If you can't get them planted, they will just. It's almost like a refrigerator outside.
Dormant.
Yeah. It'll just keep them dormant. It'll be just perfect. And so that's the way to do it, is to find a big container, just put them in there. And even if you buy, say, 3 trees, you can put all 3 trees in the same container and just pile some soil in there. And we've got mulch and soil and potting soil available at Anderson's if you need something to put in your pot. But just to hill those in, water them really good, put them in a spot where it's going to stay cool, but it's not going to get like really cold temperatures. We don't want to get down into the teens. The trees will handle it, but the soil will freeze up. Then when it's time to plant, then you have to kind of separate them.
Yeah, you just got a
big clump. But looking at the weather by next weekend, we really could be outside digging holes if the holes don't fill up with water when we're done. So
don't have to worry about watering, though.
No.
It's going to be great to be able to drop a bare root plant or any plant in, because there's going to be such a great soil
moisture. Yeah. I know it was a few years ago. I think it was maybe 5 years ago, where we had a spring that just kept raining and it just was really, really wet. And every time anyone would dig a hole, it would just fill up with water.
Yeah.
So it does happen. But we've got that class today on planting bare root, and I'm sure we'll talk about container planting a little bit as well too. That's at 1:00 at Anderson's in our classroom. And then bare root trees are here. We've got more coming. We've got more bare root plants showing up. We've got onions in stock right now, and onion sets will be in next week as well too. But then potatoes and asparagus and the grapes and the strawberries, they're all going to start rolling in here in the next 5 to 10 days for sure. I've tried to slow them down a little bit, but at a certain point they just have to start shipping stuff, even though we're not quite ready. And then I almost forgot the Home and Garden show's coming up
2 weeks from now.
I know. It's like, man, I was looking at the calendar. It's like, dang, Home and Garden show's like in 2 weeks. I I got to get ready.
Coming up, yeah.
Got to get ready.
Always one of the big kickoffs to spring and summer.
Yeah. Now, I know last year, and everybody has short memories on how things work, but last year we had nice weather to start out the month of March. We had the ground was bare, and the sun came out, and it really warmed things up. And then I remember being freezing cold and terrible weather for the Home and Garden Show.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. A cold front came in. Well, it's the old saying, March comes in like a lamb, and then it's going to go out like a lion, or vice versa.
Yeah. But I remember we had just great weather in March, and then the last week or 10 days or so, it was pretty wintry. We got quite a bit of snow back, and it was a good wet spring for us. I know farther south, they didn't have nearly as good a spring weather as we did, but we had snow and we had rain, and it really helped get us through the summertime without any problems.
So as we start to see these warmer temperatures, let's and we can take phone calls too. We want to mention 753-5868 is the phone number, or 1-800-369-5868. But as we're starting to see these warmer temperatures, are there things that we can do around our yards, around our homes, maybe help dig out some of those plants that have been buried? I've been watching our fruit trees. I'm really glad we wrapped the trunks this year because, oh man, with all of the snow we had, especially our little peach tree that we put in a couple years ago, it just completely got buried. But maybe pulling some of the snow around those trunks, getting it away from it so we don't get the sap freezing and things like that.
The snow actually kind of insulates the plants, and so it keeps the temperatures from going too drastic too quickly.
Okay.
And so I've got a couple of trees that have a lot of snow piled up around them, and it's actually kind of protected them from some of the cold weather. And so I don't think you need to do too much around the trees. Of course, we've been talking about people pulling snow away from their house a little bit. There's a lot of snow that has come off the roofs, and then you get these big piles of snow right next to the house. And if you don't have good grade drainage, so that the water drains away from your house, that's when you end up having water down in your basement. So that can be a concern. But as the snow starts to melt this week, we can get out and start doing some pruning. And so it's a really great time to do some pruning on your fruit trees. There's some shade trees we can prune in the spring as well too. But I'm seeing, driving up the canyon yesterday, I'm seeing some color starting to pop in some of those in some of those branches on the trees, like the willows and the river birch. We're starting to show color up the canyon already. Wow. So I'm like looking at the willows, going, man, I see some orange in there, So it's the twigs. It's not the leaves coming out yet, but the twigs are starting to color up. So that means the sap is starting to flow in the trees, and then the river birch are just turning bright red. And so stuff's starting to happen.
It is.
Yeah, it's that time of year for things to start happening. But we can definitely talk about pruning trees, and we can maybe go over some basics of what some of our callers and our listeners could maybe do to do some pruning while the weather's not perfectly cooperating. But if we can get out there with a nice stable ladder, we can get out there and do a little bit of work before the snow's completely gone. So,
and pruning right now would be ideal.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can prune that, and then as the tree starts to come out of dormancy, the sap starts flowing again.
Yep.
You've already made those cuts.
Yep. And you conserve some of the strength for fruit production and for good growth this year as well, too. So it's a great time to get out there. My general rules for pruning are that you want to start taking the big things out first, because if you start doing detail work on your trees and then all of a sudden realize, oh, that branch has some damage on it, I probably need to take that out, and you've already spent 5 or 10 minutes doing little detail work on that tree, and then you have to take that branch off. Yeah. It's like, oh, I could have saved myself all that time. And so the first thing I do is I will assess the tree, look and see if there's anything dead, damaged, diseased, or broken. And of course, this year, between the snowstorms that we had in the fall that did some damage and wind, and then this spring we've had just really, really heavy snow on trees that hadn't dropped all their leaves completely as well too. Those are the things you want to look out for. So any branches that have been damaged or broken, they're not going to magically repair themselves. And so usually you want to just take those out. And once you start taking those big branches out that could have some problems. That kind of opens your tree up just a little bit. Then I start looking for branches that are crossing over or are rubbing up against another, or if they end up growing 12 to 18 inches this year, are they going to cross over and start interfering with each other? And so then I start taking those out. So it's always the big pieces that I'm going to take out first. So, bigger branches that have some damage on them, maybe a little bit of fire blight or disease or, anything that doesn't look good. Branches that are weak as well, too. So, the more open the angles are on the crotches of the branches, the weaker they are, and the more likely they're going to be damaged if we get some snow on them or you get a windstorm and you're going to break some of those branches. So you want to really encourage 45-degree angles or as close to 45s as possible for your scaffold branches, because those are the ones that are going to hold the most weight. They're going to be the strongest. Really narrow crotches are weak as well too, so they're not as strong. You'd think if a 45 is great, then you think maybe, well, a 30 is going to be stronger. Well, it's actually weaker than the 45. And so the 45-degree angle is a great place to be. If you get some really, really narrow crotches on the branches, those are weak as well too. So I'll go through and then start thinning some of those weaker branches out. Encourage some really good strong 45s for scaffold branches, and then your fruit-bearing branches are going to be more horizontal. They're going to be broader and more open. That's where a lot of the fruit production comes. And so once you get in there and really encourage the right growth on your trees, take out the broken and damaged stuff, all of a sudden you've got a lot less work to have to do. And then you can go in, you can start watching out for those crossing branches, start taking out the water sprouts, the ones that just shoot straight up. Yeah, those just have to come off.
Not do any good.
Every single year you're going to have water sprouts, and you're going to take those off, and then the next year you're going to take them off again.
Yep.
And then the third year you're going to take them off again, and it's just going to be ongoing. But you take that growth off before the tree really starts to leaf out, and all the strength that is in the tree, because it's already produced all that growth, that strength is still in the root system. We haven't pruned the roots. The roots still have all the strength and the ability to pick up water and nutrient. And you take 25 or 30% off the tree, all of a sudden all that strength is going to go to your fruit production. It's going to go to good new growth that you've encouraged on your tree. And so that's really a great place to start. Then we can start making more heading cuts and cuts that are going to like direct the tree to go in the direction that you need it to go, because basically Mother Nature is going to just grow haphazardly. If we get in there and we do some really good pruning, we can direct the growth to go into areas where, say, maybe we had a branch that broke and we've got an open spot, but we could encourage a branch to grow back into that open spot. All of a sudden, a year or two later, it's just filled it right back in. Okay. So there's some really good techniques we can use to encourage new growth, get rid of growth that's not going to be productive, get rid of anything that's damaged or diseased, and away we go. Yeah, it's really not as difficult as you think. I think most people just feel like, if I prune my tree, I'm going to kill it. Yeah, I'm going to do more damage than good. I'm just going to leave it. But with our fruit guide that we put together 2 years ago, it not only has information about all the fruits that you can grow, whether they're small fruits like strawberries or blueberries, but it also has all of the fruit trees in there and nut trees, and it has pruning instructions. So it really will make you feel comfortable when you get out there and prune, like you can feel like you're not going to kill your tree. You might not be a professional, you might not be perfect at it, but you can feel comfortable and confident that you can go out and do some pruning and not do any damage to your tree.
Well, consider it like a haircut. I mean,
exactly.
What would it be like if we didn't cut our hair any time?
I think we should try that.
Start looking like Sasquatch.
Like this whole year, Will and I are not going to cut our hair. So.
Well, let's go out to the phone lines. I don't think we're going to be talking about haircuts with Kathy from Dayton, but Kathy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. My apple tree still has a lot of leaves on it, even after the horrible winds we've had.
Yes.
Should I be concerned?
The leaves on the trees were not completely, they hadn't changed color completely in the fall when we had some really, really cold temperatures. They were still kind of green. They were just starting to really change colors here in the valley. In the mountains, they'd really change colors, but a lot of the trees hadn't changed, and we had some really cold temperatures, and it froze the leaves right on the trees. And so those leaves will kind of stick on until the new growth comes out in the spring. I don't think there's any damage to your tree has been kind of a harsh winter, but again, we've had good soil moisture, and that's a really great bonus to help those trees come through winter a lot better. There might be some damage you're going to have to prune out a little bit, but I don't think there's going to be any problem with those leaves stuck on your tree.
Okay, water sprouts. How do I tell the difference between what's a water sprout and what's something I should be leaving?
That's a great question. Yeah, good question, Kathy. So the water sprouts grow off the tops of the branches, and they grow straight up.
Okay.
And they usually have a slightly different color. So they're going to be more pink or red in color than the rest of the growth on the trees. They could be more orangey in color. It just depends on the type of the tree. But if you go, like say you're driving to Salt Lake and you come out of the canyon and you're heading into Brigham City and you see all the orchards there on the left-hand side, you can see the sprouts that just are growing straight up on the trees, and they're usually a different color than the rest of the tree, and those are the ones you're going to take off. And if you kind of watch those trees, once they get in there and prune, you'll just see those are all completely gone, and then they're back again the next year.
I'm looking at my apple tree at the inside of my house, and it's like the top of it, everything's straight up.
Yep, and those all need to come off.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Because you'll notice they don't branch out either.
Yeah.
Water sprouts they go straight up.
They just shoot straight up, and so it's unproductive growth, and you want to get rid of that. And the trees just kind of tend to do that every year because they do have a lot of accumulated strength. Once you get in there and prune 25% of the tree out, those roots are going to produce that extra 25% of growth somewhere, and usually ends up going into the water sprouts. But they are unproductive. They will not produce fruit for you, so they're not going to do you any good.
Okay, so is that going to make my tree not have apples on it if I cut that much off of it?
No, it's not unusual for you to prune 25 to 30% of the tree every single year, and we kind of consider the water sprouts to not be part of that percentage.
Oh,
yeah, because it's just unproductive growth, and so it's just going to come back again every single year because it's just the way the trees work. But it does help retain the strength that would go into more growth that's going straight up, and it's going to go into your fruit instead.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. Thanks for calling this morning, Kathy. Have a wonderful weekend.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right.
We were talking about pruning and planting bare root trees. I see a lot of times, especially with the winds that we get here, you'll put in a bare root tree and give it a year or so with the wind that we have here, and it starts to lean
a little bit.
Just how effective is it to drop a fence post and then wrap a line around and try to guide that tree up? Yeah,
we usually recommend, especially if you're in a windy location, that you want to stake your trees and try and keep them nice and straight. My house, the wind blows every morning, but it's not really a hard wind. But you go from down on the island up close to the university, and the wind blows a lot harder up there, and so you see a lot of trees just kind of leaning to the west. And a fence post or a staking kit of some sort really does make a big difference. You just got to make sure where it attaches to the tree that it is kind of, I wouldn't say insulated, but it's kind of protected so that the whatever wire you're using or whatever guide, whether it's a cable or cord of some sort, doesn't bite into the bark of the tree, and
just
then
cut into it.
And if the wind does blow and the tree moves, then you don't want it rubbing on the bark as well too. So usually we'll use old garden hose, cut it up into pieces, put our guide wire through that, and then wrap it around the tree so it's got that rubber insulator between the actual cable that's holding the tree and what's between the tree and the cable.
Okay.
Yeah, so that does help quite a bit. And we've got some really inexpensive, nice staking kits for small and larger trees and Andersons that we can show you how to set that up. Fence posts work great. I've got a couple trees that we put a couple fence posts in and just kind of secured those so that they're not going to lean anymore. But I'll tell you what, I planted a peach tree 2 years ago, and it's put on 5 feet of growth already. From bare root. From bare root. And then a year ago, we planted a couple other trees, and they just did spectacular last year. So just been growing like crazy. Just have to keep the deer off of them. They do a little extra pruning sometimes.
And they don't ever take out the water sprouts
I
either.
know, darn them. They're just not very. We got to train them better.
Yeah.
Definitely got to train them better.
Phone lines are open if you have a question for the Garden Guide on this Saturday morning. 753-5868 is the number, or 1-800-369-5868. We talked a little bit last week about insects and some of the things that we're seeing is these insects are now also coming out of dormancy, and we're seeing them around the house, some of the things that we can do. We'll get into that as well. But also, if you're just joining us this morning, let's also just mention the bare root trees that are in stock now and have come in.
So our first shipment came in yesterday, late afternoon. So it's going to take us most of the day today to get those organized. But we've got some apple trees, we've got pears, we've got peaches, nectarines, apricots, plums, cherries, and then some of the mixed fruit as well too. The pluots, and which is a cross between a plum and apricot, and then we also got some plueries, which is a plum cherry cross. I got some mulberry trees. I think we got a few nut trees in as well too. But we have more shipments coming. So this is just our first batch of trees, about 700 trees. But some of my favorite varieties are in this first group of trees. And then next week we've got asparagus should arrive, grapes should arrive, strawberries should arrive. So even though you have snow outside, we can definitely get excited about the potential snow melt.
Planting.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have my fingers crossed that by the St. Patrick's Day our snow would be gone. Yeah. We're gonna be close,
but maybe by
close.
the Home and Garden Show 2 weeks from now.
We better be by the Home and Garden Show, or else there's going to be trouble. Mark's going to be running around the whole valley with a propane torch, burning off all the rest of the snow.
Everywhere.
Yeah, a hair dryer or something. My solar powered hair dryer.
Yeah, we'll see how that works.
We'll be doing something like that. But bare root season is on at Anderson Seed and Garden, whether we can get outside and plant or not. We can help you figure out how to store your trees or your strawberry plants until you're ready to plant outside. If it's really, really wet still for the next couple of weeks, you can still get them planted. We can still get them home, because honestly, if you wait,
they'll be gone.
They're going to be gone. Yeah, and that's the way it's happened for the last 5 or 6 years on the fruit trees. If you wait just a week too late, they're gone, and then we just can't replace them. I've got some trees that we set aside and have got potted and ready to go for the summer, but it's not like everything. It's just what we could get our hands on for extras. So we'll have some really nice, like, established container trees available end of May, 1st of June. But for bare root, God, you got to get it while it's here, because they just go so quickly.
All right,
they go quick.
Well, let's take another call. We have Cindy joining us on the line from North Logan. Cindy, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Good morning.
I was in your store yesterday, Mark, and I talked to you about my tulips.
Yes.
That I've got from Texas, and I did put them in pots like you told me and covered them with water and soil. Do I bring them inside, or do I keep them in the garage?
You know what?
Until they're ready to plant outside.
You said you had kept them in the garage for most of the winter, correct?
Yeah.
So they have had at least 8 to 10 weeks of kind of cold storage, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You should be able to put those in a warmer location. I wouldn't go like really warm, but if you can keep them at about 60 to 65 degrees for a week or so, and kind of start to wake them up slow, and then you can bring them in where it's warmer after a week. So we don't want to just like take them straight from the cold storage to nice and 70-degree temperatures. Kind of put them in the coolest location to begin with, but lots of light if they start coming up. But we're going to kind of gradually introduce them into a little bit warmer environment, and they should. I got my fingers crossed for you. I think there's a bunch of them looked like they were still good, but I think some are maybe not going to be quite as productive.
Okay, and how often do I water them?
If you're keeping them in a more contained, controlled environment, probably once a week right now will be plenty.
Okay, and when I water them, do I completely soak them?
saturate them so that the excess water drains out the bottom of your pot. So have a saucer or something to collect the excess water in there, and then get rid of that excess water. Don't let them just stand in it. Otherwise, it'll be too wet on the bottom of the pot. And so probably the once a week should be great. Yeah, it should work out really well.
Okay. All right. And then when the ground's not frozen, how do I plant them?
So you can leave them in the pot and just plant the pot right out in the ground. If it's just an inexpensive nursery pot, if it's a really nice pot you put them into, I probably wouldn't do that. But depending on how long it takes for the soil to dry out, and once they start coming up, they will have developed enough root system to probably hold the soil together. It might take 3 weeks or maybe even a little bit longer for them to develop enough root system to hold the soil all together. But you could, at that point, take them out of the pot and plant them in the ground. But you got to have enough root system there to hold the soil together. Otherwise, I just take them and keep them in the pot and just put them right outside, and they'll do fine in the pot.
Okay, so I have one more question, and it might be a silly one, but how do I get light and sun to them when it's so cold outside? Yeah,
artificial lights. They're pretty inexpensive. Most of them are LED now, and so they don't use a whole lot of electricity. I'm growing some tomato plants for one of my classes, and we're doing some rooting. We're rooting some cuttings off of some house plants, and I have just some LED lights that we use to give them extra light. So I've got them in my classroom, and the sun never really hits them, and so I've got them on a timer. So they're on for 16 hours and they're off for 8. So I'm trying to simulate sunlight as much as possible. But otherwise, just a brightly lit location. North window where there's a lot of reflected light. And, of course, there's lots of reflected light right now with all the snow on the ground. But, east window. You don't want them in a south window where they're just like getting direct sunlight on them. You want indirect light, but as much light as possible.
Okay. All right. Well, great. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. Good luck with your tulips.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, Cindy.
All right. And we're at the bottom of the hour. So we'll be back coming up and talk more bare roots and any questions that you may have. How to take care of your yard and garden as we start to come out of winter.
Seeds. We need to talk seeds.
Yeah.
It's time to get seeds.
Start getting seeds as well. All right. And we'll take more of your calls. 753-5868 or 1-800-369-5868. More of the Garden Guide coming up next.
Walter, KVNU News. Wildlife conservationists are calling for Governor Cox to veto HB 469, which would allow year-round cougar hunting in the state. During one of the bill's final readings, Senator Scott Sandel introduced a provision that removes the state's current requirement to carry a cougar hunting permit to hunt and kill the large cats. Kirk Robinson with the Western Wildlife Conservancy says the bill is concerning because Utah already kills more cougars each year than almost any other state. Robinson says in the 2021-22 hunting season, 753 cougars were killed out of the roughly 2,500 accounted for by the state's Division of Wildlife Resources.
Why are we killing so many in the first place? Which makes the question, why would we have a change in the law to allow even more killing?
Robinson argues the bill has garnered support because some people believe cougars are responsible for the struggling Utah deer population and also cause public safety concerns. While Robinson recognizes human cougar encounters have increased in recent years, he still says the bill is scientifically uninformed and ethically fraught, and says killing so many cougars upsets the ecological balance. One person died, another was injured after getting buried in an avalanche along the backcountry in Summit County. Officials said the slide happened in the backcountry area in Weber Canyon around 3:30 Thursday afternoon. 2 adult men were found who had been buried from the slide. One person was pronounced dead on scene. The other was transported to a nearby hospital. After the rain and snow and wind, partly cloudy, Saturday and Sunday, highs in the low to mid-30s. For the latest news, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
From ABC Sports, I'm Mark Remillard. A busy night in college hoops, but we begin in Philadelphia, where the NBA's Sixers erase a 21-point deficit against the Trailblazers. And on their final possession of the game,
Embiid making a move into the lane, spins, hangs, fires, shot up, and good with 1 second to go. Portland calls time. Embiid with a floating turnaround to give the Sixers the lead.
97-5 the Fanatic, 120-119 Sixers the final. At the Pac-12 tournament in Las Vegas, 1-seed UCLA against 4-seed Oregon. Tiger Campbell with a career night for the Bruins.
Here's Tiger Campbell. He'll zigzag and kick. Singleton's three is good! Rolling in! And the Bruins are having quite a night on the Strip.
That's Josh Lewin from Learfield. 28 points, 6 boards, 6 assists for Campbell in the 75-56 dub. This is ABC Sports.
Good morning, this is your Cherry Peak Ski Report for Saturday, March 11th, 2023. We have a mid-mountain base depth of 70 inches with 2 inches of new snow in the past 24 hours. Roads to mountain are plowed and sanded, and the skies are mostly clear. Today's operational hours are 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. day skiing and 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. for night skiing. We'll be operating Gateway Triple Chairlift, Vista Triple Chairlift, and come experience the Summit Lift. We'll also be operating the Magic Carpet. This will service tubing and the Bunny Hill. Be sure to complete your digital waiver before arrival for all tubing tickets. Well, our annual pass sale is underway. Yes, all kinds of discounts across the board, including our Peak Pass. Thursdays and Fridays only for the next 365 days. You can ski for just $149. Get your whole family involved? Yes, the annual family pass at Cherry Peak starts at $749. Get yours today. Buy today. Ski today. Go to skicpr.com for any further information and details. We'll catch you at the peak.
From gardening to landscaping, The Garden Guide with Mark Anderson from Anderson Seed and Garden on News Talk KVNU, 610 AM and 102.1 FM.
Welcome back as we're enjoying partly cloudy skies this morning. Yesterday we hit 51 degrees.
Oh, so nice. It was so nice.
Yeah. So
and rain.
Spring is coming. It's coming. Just a little slower.
We got some sunshine coming today too.
Yeah.
It's gonna be nice. So
highs today are supposed to be in the mid-30s, which is actually good because I mean, if you were to look and say, yeah, those 50s were nice, but if you gave us those every day for a week, that's a little too much.
A bit more. It would get rid of most of the snow here in the valley, but the snow up it was still chilly up in the mountains yesterday. So yeah, it was cold enough to snow where it was raining down here. So it'll keep things happening up there. So.
Yeah. So we were talking earlier about what you can do to pull the snow away from your yard, especially any snow that's fallen off the roof, piled up in, say, for example, your flower gardens. One thing also to watch out for, too, is make sure that your rain gutter spouts, that those aren't just going into the driveway or into a gutter. You know, maybe see if you can't focus that water into your yard or into a garden so that it's being stored up in a yard instead of just going down
gets down into the soil. Yeah. So we're gonna build our soil water reserves back up this year. So that's gonna be really nice. At Anderson's today, we've got some great things happening. So we've got our class at 1:00, and the class is on planting bare root trees and other bare root plants, and we kind of cover all the basics of how to be successful planting bare roots, and that is at 1:00 in our classroom. I'm sure we'll be talking a little bit about container planting as well too, but that's a great place to start. Fruit trees came in yesterday. We've got all different varieties, but they probably won't be ready to sell until at least later this afternoon or first part of the week. It takes us It takes us many hours to tag all those trees and get them potted up and get them ready to go so that they can find a nice new home at your house.
Mm-hmm. So maybe later today or by Monday.
By Monday, yeah.
Have plenty of selection.
And we have a lot of people that have been requesting trees all winter, and so we'll start making phone calls and kind of get that information out that those trees are available. But by next week, asparagus is going to be showing up, potatoes will be showing up, grapes, probably even strawberries as well too. Onion plants are in stock, so bare root season is almost in full swing at Anderson Seed and Garden. So a lot of fun things happening. Home and Garden Show is coming up in a couple weeks.
2 weeks from now.
So we definitely don't want to forget about the Home and Garden Show, and it's always a lot of fun out there.
Yeah. Yeah, always a great time. Get everybody together, and it just starts to feel like, hey, you know what? A lot of exciting things can be coming up.
If we don't get all this snow and ice melted, we'll be inside on the ice and outside on the ice as well.
It could be warmer inside than it is outside.
No, it's gonna change. It's gonna change. We're gonna be out fertilizing the lawn, planting our early crops, and doing all that stuff here in no time. So seed season is coming up.
Yeah,
everybody, a lot of people coming in that are excited about getting their seeds. Everybody's got spring fever, so even though there's a lot of snow on the ground, this is the prime time to come in and start getting your garden planned and ready to go for this year. And we have not had lines yet, but we know they're coming.
Oh yes, they do every year. Now you've changed the way you can get seeds this year. And kind of, not this year, but I guess it was maybe last year, over the last couple of years, tried to streamline it a little bit, make it easier for people.
We've tried a lot of different things over the years, and of course, you can always just come into the store and we'll weigh the seeds up in front of you, and that's half the fun of coming into Anderson's is watching us weigh the seeds up on the scales and everything. But you can definitely go online and order, and we're filling orders like every single day for pickup, or we can ship. And so we've got people all over the country that we ship seeds to. We have people right here in the valley that are busy and just don't have time, so they'll just go online and order what they want, and we'll put it together. We'll notify you the next day. Usually it's within 24 to 48 hours. We can have it packed and ready to go. And you just stop in and pick it up there at the store. So we've got a lot of different options.
Convenient.
Yeah, we've got a lot of different options for gardeners for getting their seeds as well too. And what is exciting at Anderson's is we've got our new website's going to go live here in the next probably 10 days or so. So we've been working on a new website all winter, and we're excited to see that happen. It will be a lot easier to navigate. It will be a lot easier to find what you're looking for, whether it's seeds to purchase or whether it is a fertilizer you were trying to find, or if you're just trying to find information on how to plant trees or to take care of your grapes or to fertilize your lawn. The videos will be there. All the podcasts of the radio show will be there. And we've been doing videos for literally decades. Yeah. And so we've got tons and tons of videos on how to do just about everything. And so those will be on the website. Podcasts will be on the website. All of our information guides will be on the website, whether it's vegetables or fruits or whatever it is. Those will all be available as well too. And most of those are on our website right now. It's just the way the website's constructed from 5-6 years ago. It's just harder to search, and so the new website's going to be much, much easier to find the information that you're looking for.
Now it's all being designed together instead of just adding a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. Let's add this here.
Yeah, our first website was great. It was just really informational driven, and so it was all about getting the information that we had out to our customers. And then when we built a new website, we were starting to sell more seeds and more product online, and so it was a little bit more commerce driven instead. And this website will be kind of a combination of both. So it's going to be the best of both worlds, which is really what we're looking for. We want our customers, we want gardeners to be able to come to our website, find the information that they're looking for on specific problems that are happening right here in Cache Valley, instead of going online and searching and having Google give you 5 different answers for the same thing, because that's what happens all the time. So we'll be a resource, a local resource for you to find that information. But also, if you want to get some seeds, you want to get a little bit of fertilizer, maybe you want to pick up pest control. We'll have all those on our website as well too. So you'll be able to find what you're looking for and either order it to be shipped to your place, like say you're in southern Idaho, don't want to drive down here, or if you're just around the corner from the store, you can just walk in, we'll have the order ready for you, grab it, you're out the door.
Makes it really easy.
Yeah, it does make it easy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really nice.
We were talking earlier, insects and also ways to be able to help your trees as they come out of dormancy. And plants coming out of dormancy. Some of the things that we can do there.
And hopefully that won't be too soon as well. We had a really slow start to the season last year, so most of the trees really didn't bloom until the end of April. We might be in the same boat again this year. But what we are encouraging is if you get out there and do some pruning in the next week or 10 days, or you've got really a month to do pruning if things continue the way they are. You can do that pruning, and it's time to put a dormant spray on. And so the dormant spray will help control insects. If you put a little bit of disease control in with it, it will help control diseases as well that have wintered over from last year. So that dormant spray is a great way to get your trees off on the right foot. So get a good start to the season. It will control insects, insect eggs, diseases that have wintered over from last year. It just gives you a nice, clean, fresh start for the season, so you don't have disease and insects just starting off as soon as the trees really come out. But it's not going to stop things that show up later on in the season. So I think sometimes listeners and some gardeners, they think that, I put my dormant spray on, so I really won't have any problems with insects for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, it gives you a clean, fresh start. But then by May, aphids might be showing up, and by June, we definitely know codling moth are going to be out attacking the trees. And I mean, so there's insects that show up later on in the season. This really won't do anything for those, but it's going to control anything that has wintered over from last year. So it really does help with aphids, helps with scale, that helps with the San Jose scale and blister mites and a lot of different insects that kind of bother the trees and affect the fruit. And if you do that early spray, it will alleviate that problem. It'll just completely eliminate that, so you don't have those issues throughout the early part of the season. But then you got to do your summertime spray, starting in June as well too. So don't forget about that.
Okay. So dormant spray. And is that good? Roses?
Any deciduous trees. So you can do your fruit trees. Okay. You can do any shade trees. Anything that drops its leaves.
Okay.
You're okay doing that on. If you get the oil on some of your evergreens, it can kind of burn the leaves a little bit just from the sunshine and the oils together. You could burn. So probably not a great idea for those, but any deciduous trees would work great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dormant spray.
No problem.
Great time to apply it now. And then keep in mind, though, that as we start getting
after you're done
summer,
pruning. So you want to prune first, because if you spray the trees and then you prune afterwards, then you have to spray more tree.
Right. And you've wasted some of the spray to begin with.
Exactly. And we really want nighttime temperatures to be close to freezing or above. You really need to make the application when the temperatures are a little bit warmer. So we definitely want not freezing temperatures when you do your dormant spray. But we usually recommend get your pruning done, wait for the weather to warm up just a little bit, and then go ahead and do your dormant spray before the trees leaf out and before they start to bud, and definitely before the flowers come out as well too. So, but that time is pretty much, we're getting close. Yeah, we're getting really, really close. So not too bad. We do have phone lines open, so if anybody wants to call in with a question or comment, 753-5868, 753-KVNU. And we've got, Will?
Yeah, about 7 minutes left.
So. All right.
Also happening at the store, in addition to the bare roots, we were talking last week with Hank.
Yes.
And tulips and bulbs.
Yeah. So we were talking tulips and daffodils and hyacinths because those are the ones we planted last fall. But our spring bulbs just actually came in this week. So we have dahlias, we have gladiolas, we have some lilies as well too. One of our sources for bulbs closed up this last year, and so we don't have the selection of bulbs that we normally do, unfortunately, but we do have a really great selection of dahlias, and we will have some really nice lilies and glads. But years past, we've had more to choose from, but we're kind of limited right now on what we can get for spring bulbs. But some gorgeous dahlia bulbs just arrived this week. So pretty excited about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, phone lines are open, 753-5868, 1-800-369-5868. It's something that we're probably going to have to deal with a little bit as we start to melt this snow is snow mold.
Yes.
That we're going to start seeing on lawns. I mean, you can't put 5-6 feet of snow on your yard and not expect to see some snow mold.
Absolutely. And so that's good that you brought that up because I hadn't really thought about it. But yeah, we've got a lot of snow that's been on the ground for the entire winter, so we could have a little bit of damage underneath. And so the best way to prevent that is to put an application on in the fall before we start to get snow if you've had problems year after year after year. But this year, as soon as the snow melts, best thing you can do is to get an application of humate on your lawn to really help get the lawn going again, a little bit of fertilizer. And then if you're thinking you've got some disease problems, there's some great disease control we can use, whether it's in a liquid or whether it's in a granule to try and stop that snow mold. So we've got multiple options, whether it's granulated or in a liquid form. F-Stop works great from Fertilome. It's a really great product. If you want to go with the natural disease control, the new Fungi 5 from Fertilome, a great biological disease control that has been super, super effective. And then in a granule form, we've got a couple different options that really work great on a broad spectrum of different diseases, and especially on the pink and the gray snow mold. Mm-hmm. So absolutely.
And we've noticed, too, if you just take a rake up that grass just a little bit to bring it up and then drop the humate, drop the fertilizer on it, and that helps it to get down into the roots, gets down into the dirt.
A little bit of raking.
Instead of just sitting on the top. So
we're going to see some really compressed grass.
Yeah, we are. With as much snow as we've had.
So that's the way it goes. So.
All right, well, let's go back out to the phone lines. Marilyn joining us from Wellsville. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much. We have some small little baby blue spruce that we planted, and one is maybe 4.5, 5 feet tall, and the other one is not quite that tall. They've been in the ground probably 3 years now, and they have been completely buried under a couple of feet of snow. We're at 5,000 feet, and we're kind of at the mouth of a little canyon here, and we have really
got a lot of snow.
We've been buried in snow.
I looked
from the Marshmallow Man.
Yeah, I was going to say, I looked at the Wellsvilles like yesterday. We were driving, and I looked at the Wellsvilles. I was like, I can hardly see any trees over there. They're just like all covered with snow. It's going to be like 4th of July by the time we get rid of the snow over there. So,
well, yes, it really is, and we literally have piles of snow that my husband's cleared from the drive that are all probably 8 feet.
Yeah,
But it's sinking. Yesterday with the rain, we're seeing some progress.
You could see your neighbor's house again, huh?
Yeah, literally. Yes, we can. I'm kind of worried about these little blue spruce. They've been buried.
They will be just fine. They will be just fine. So, like to go skiing. We go up to Beaver Mountain quite a bit, and there's just hundreds, if not thousands, of trees that just get buried in snow up there every single year. And as soon as the snow melts, they just come right out, and they're happy little campers. So,
I'm glad to hear that.
Your spruce will be they will be just fine. In fact, the snow's kept the deer from eating them, so they're probably even better than otherwise. So, yeah, no worries.
Yes, that's true. And the same thing with the roses. Although because of the drought, the deer they went into this winter really hungry, and they stripped leaves off the lower branches of trees.
Yes,
stripped every single leaf off of a rose they could find. They were just kind of, I'll use the word worst.
Yeah, desperate.
Yeah.
I've seen in 20 years.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. But
anyway, what about those roses? I'll prune them.
Yep. Yep. Wait till the first week of April to do your rose pruning. It might even be a little bit later this year, but usually it's the first weekend of April when we recommend it's time to start pruning the roses and getting those going as well too. So you got a couple weeks
when I see
respite.
the ground.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Thank you
Thanks.
so very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for calling. Bye-bye.
And one thing we didn't mention is as those trees start to come back out of the snow, a little fertilizer,
yes,
definitely would help.
Especially the fruit trees. They use a lot of nutrient throughout the year to produce fruit year after year after year. So it's always a great idea to fertilize your fruit trees right after you're done pruning and getting your dormant spray on, and the soil is right there. Just like throw some fertilizer out while you're at it, and it's great for those trees. It's good for a lot of plants to have a little bit of supplemental nutrition, because nutrient does get leached away each year and gets used up by the trees. So class at 1 o'clock today. So all about planting bare root plants. It's at 1 o'clock in our classroom at Anderson's. Bare root trees are here, and we've got so many things coming in the next week or 10 days. It's very exciting that spring is showing up, and I see the sun coming out right now.
It is. Yep. Perfect way to finish off the show. We have St. Patrick's Day coming up next week, and then 2 weeks from now, we're going to be talking about the Home and Garden Show. So
yeah,
it's starting to feel like spring. We still got a couple weeks, but it's starting.
It's going to happen, and we're ready at Anderson, so come in and see us. We've got seeds, we've got what you need, and bare root plants are all starting to show up, so we will be back next week with another edition of The Garden Guide.
Changes. We're with you. News Talk KVNU Logan. 102 FM, 610 AM. The voice of Northern Utah.